Good evening and welcome. My name is Michael Sims. I am doing a presentation for my ethics class for Professor Christian Perring. Now, first and foremost, I wanted to show you what this photo is that's on your screen. This is an actual picture of my extensive family. This isn't even half of us. I'm at one of our many, many family functions, and pictures like this persist all throughout social media, photo albums, and inside displayed on my family's homes. Because of our numbers, we have to work hard to maintain our closeness, which we do thanks to the elders and members of the previous generation. Their tireless efforts to keep us together has been something that has kept us, in turn, instilling the same values into our own children. Now, the reason why I'm bringing up my extensive family and the effort and the work that it takes to keep us together is because of the question that's being posed. Once children are adults, what obligations do children have to their parents to stay in communication, attend family events, and look after parents when they have needs? What theories are there about this? Now, first and foremost, I would like to touch on 3 different theories that I think and I believe actually showcase why we as adult children should be obligated to attend events, stay in constant communication with our parents, or at least frequent, and also to look after them when that time arises, which unfortunately does and will for all of us. First and foremost, I'd like to take a look at care ethics. Now, care ethics is defined as a practice, mainly, as opposed to a theory, because care involves maintaining the world of and meeting the needs of ourselves and others. It builds on the motivation to care for those who are dependent and vulnerable, and it is inspired by both memories of being cared for and the idealizations of self. Following in the sentimentalist tradition of moral theory, care ethics affirms the importance of caring motivation, emotion, and the body in moral deliberation, as well as reasoning from particulars. To monitor parents' autonomy and health as the years go on, adult children could face a legal and financial responsibility to their parents. They could also feel as though they should be on hand for family functions and maintain continuous contact to check on the well-being of their parents. This is something that's very, very prevalent in my own family. Recently, I had my father's mother, my grandmother, who helped to raise us and is also the subject of a locket that I keep with me every day, as well as one of my closest aunts, both pass away within a week of each other after battles with long-term illnesses, respectively. Now, as unfortunate as it was, we were able to persevere due to the fact that my family had established a close-knit connection where each of us as adult children, her own daughters, myself and my siblings, my other cousins, would go visit them, my grandmother and my aunt, respectively, regardless of who was the immediate blood connection, because we saw it all as one cohesive unit, and we were all responsible to look after her, to take care of her, and to see how she was progressing, or they were progressing, forgive me. Another ethical theory that I say supports this notion that children are obligated, and what their obligations are to their parents as they become adults, is natural law ethics. Now, natural law ethics showcases that the natural connection children have to their parents should imbue them with the desire to take care of their parents and wish to spend time with them. By nature and its rules, the adult children should feel indebted to their parents as they are physically connected to them and emotionally connected to them more than any other human besides their own children. Natural law itself is rooted in the belief that morality is derived from human nature and the natural order of the world. It posits that certain rights and values are inherent and can be discovered through reason. This approach emphasizes the importance of moral laws and rational understanding of nature. Because of the fact that my mother gave birth to me, it's only natural that I would in turn like to acquiesce to anything that she would have me do, be it attending a family barbecue, be it calling her to let her know how my day is doing or how her grandson is doing. That's just something that's a natural connection because I was born of her. The same with my father. I feel a piece of them. And because of that, I feel the ethically and morally correct thing to do is to ensure that they are continuously a part of my own life. I feel that all adult children should feel that. Now, the contrary to this is that some people, despite being birthed, don't have that natural connection to their parents, be it the parents never showed them enough love or they didn't connect with them in a certain way. That is understandable. And in that case, hopefully they do have someone who is of a guiding light to them that could be that paternal figure who they do feel a natural connection to. Now, the third theory that I'd like to touch on is the theory of virtue ethics. Now, Virtue ethics is an ethical framework that emphasizes the development of moral character and virtues as the foundation for ethical behavior. Focusing on what kind of person one should become, it encourages individuals to practice virtues like courage, temperance, and wisdom to achieve human flourishing. Now that can show that to be seen as a good person and to become a good person, you would have to start by being a good child. These adult kids should come to all these events, have open communication, and tend to their parents due to the fact that these virtues and values would not be instilled within them without their parents' guidance. That in turn should give them that compassion and the empathy towards those who sacrificed for them, gave up finances for them, and did whatever they could to ensure that these children had the life that the parents and also the parents wanted for them and that the children themselves deserved. This brings me to different actual examples as to why obligation to our parents is necessary. The first topic I'd like to cover is repaying your providers. The age-old adage is that parents want their kids to have the things that they never did. Because of this, parents will sacrifice finances, time, and energy to give the child whatever they can to see that child succeed and be happy. To just abscond and leave would essentially disrespect the effort of the parents. Care ethics would dictate that the child should preserve their own well-being, yes, but also remember the memories of being themselves cared for, as well as be mindful of the self-idealization that comes along with the care ethics in terms of looking after their parents and meeting their parents' needs as the child becomes an adult. The care taken in this regard can also extend to a consistent dialogue where the parents know that they are still important in the adult child's day-to-day life. By attending these family functions and important events, adult children can prevent their parents from feeling abandoned, as the natural order should dictate that families stay together. Being raised to be a virtuous person could also see these adult children looking to repay their parents by giving them care as they get on in age. That has all three of the theories, care ethics, virtuous ethics, and natural law ethics combined with the sense of repayment. Now, some people could see this as a slave morality or even being indebted to your parents. And I believe that the difference is that most parents would rather their children grow and continue on with their own life. It should be on the children, the onus should be on the child as they become an adult to see how much their parents have given to them and in turn try to repay what they have done and what they were given. Another facet could be seen as perhaps more of a vain institution, but I believe it's also the aesthetic component. Now, a key reason in other time periods that adult children were obligated to keep in communication and acquiesce to their parents' desires was the optics of the nuclear family. Now, in public arenas, such as politics or religion, adult children showing support to their parents can lead to external viewers to trust that these people who they're looking to are who they say they are. As this lifestyle in the public spotlight often leads to great financial gain, the children who do benefit should be required to embrace their parents' dictation of their lives, for better or for worse. This has also been shown in business as well, as most family companies tend to employ adult children as some form of management or even succession. To illustrate that, I look towards people such as Bishop T.D. Jakes, who runs a large church organization known as the Potter's House. Now recently, as T.D. Jakes, who is a very big figure in the religious and Christian community, began to wind down his own preaching career, he looked towards his adult child, his daughter, to take up the reins as the head of the Potter's House, and she was recently ordained. Now, could he have easily chosen another deacon or a minister or an elder? Absolutely. But the optics and the aesthetic of seeing this as a family that is close-knit and staying together is strengthened by T.D. Jakes looking to his daughter and appointing her as his successor. Another example are the Kennedy and the Bush families in the political arena. John F. Kennedy and his son, Robert F. Kennedy and his son, were both politically motivated by their own fathers and would stand by their fathers even after they passed as adult children and stand by their legacies. They were, even to this day, there's a Kennedy member who is involved in the political arena, and also as they become adult children, they promoted the legacy of their family and often were seen in these lights as time went on, due to the fact that they had an obligation to the family name and to the aesthetics of the family to consistently be in the spotlight. Now also, the McMahon family, who owned at one time the WWE. Vince McMahon, being the patriarch, was always beholden to his father, Vince McMahon Sr., who he bought the company from, and his own children, Stephanie and Shane McMahon as well, would constantly be by Vince McMahon's side during the up times when wrestling was at its peak, during the Stone Cold Steve Austin era and the Rock era, and also at its lowest times when there was a steroid trial, or when they were almost going out of business, or even recently as Vince McMahon has seen various lawsuits brought against him. The family and the optics and the aesthetics have seen the adult children who were raised in a place of privilege continue to stick by the father and defend their father, as well as attending various things such as his birthday party and also anything else that has any significance in the family. They're in turn looking after their father, even as he's being scrutinized publicly, by protecting and trying to also keep the family's legacy intact. This, of course, I believe is an obligation, but also something that these children of these people in prominent positions should be groomed for, as it is unfortunately a byproduct of being within that space. And another topic I'd like to touch on are the cultural reasons and the upkeeping of traditions. Now, keeping traditions and the memories of family and culture alive is very important. The adult children are essentially being taught and advised to become the elders to their own children someday. Although the West fetishizes youth and hides away the old in hospitals and nursing homes, other cultures value and take care of their elders with pride. And I do have some examples on hand. To illustrate this, cultures such as the Chinese care for their parents in old age. There's a very big respect shown to the elders, as they are the wisest in the household. They are the wisest in the family. They know the most about the history of their family and of the land itself, and therefore they are revered, and they should be protected and are taken care of and are never seen as a burden. In African cultures also, they're almost aspire to reach to an elderly stage, so that way they can be looked upon as being able to continue to instill the traditions and the ways and the culture of their people and their individual tribes or their nations into the youth, so that way they can also pass it down to their children. And the younger generation feels honored and also feels empowered by receiving this knowledge and this wisdom from the older generations. Another area where the obligation is seen as more of a sense of pride is in Greece. In the Greek American culture, old age is honored and celebrated, and respect for elders is central to the family. Native American elders also pass down their knowledge. This is something that has been shown time and time again in various retellings of stories, such as the story of Pocahontas, Geronimo, and various other Native American cultures where the heads of their tribes were often the oldest in the village and would continuously keep the memory of the Native American people alive despite the overwhelming odds and losses. In Korea, elders are highly respected. Now, this of course is rooted in the filial piety, the value that dictated that one must respect one's parents. This is very, very prominent in Korean pop culture, in Korean lifestyles. Respect for parents is paramount more than anything else, due to the fact that that respect is inherent to who they are, as that shows that they understand their place in this world in relation to those who came before them. And one of my final ones, in India, elders are seen as the head of the family. From personal experience, as I worked with many Indian and Middle Eastern people, I would be privy to their interactions with the elders and their parents, and it was a very deep respect. And the people of Indian or Middle Eastern descent, or even Indo-Asian descent, would oftentimes, with any major life decision, turn to their parents or even their grandparents to ask for counsel, and they would adhere to it strictly with very little retaliation or recourse. They would trust the word of the elders because they had lived a life that the younger generation is still in the midst of living, and they would take their words as the wise guidance that it was. Now, There's also the personal connection to the extended family. As individual families grow from the adult children, there tends to become a disconnect with their own cousins, perhaps their parents, siblings, and things of that nature. By maintaining contact with our parents, as well as continuing to attend family events, that extended family bond remains, which is what my family has done, which has led to us being where we are and how we are to this day. In conclusion, I would like to say that to answer the question, what obligations do we have to our parents as adults? The obligation we have is that we owe them our lives. For better or for worse, we would not be here and be able to experience the ups and downs, the highs and lows, the joys and the pains of life without our parents. Even if they were just the ones who gave birth to us or the ones who guide us on a day-to-day basis, as my own do, we owe them our lives. Therefore, our obligations to our parents should not be seen as a burden, but a blessing, because one day they will be gone. But for now, they're worth it. I've been Michael Sims, and thank you so much for your time.